Hi, good afternoon. This is Professor Adams. I wanted to take a few moments to go over your film essay. Your film essay is a big chunk of your grade. Combined with your persuasive outline, it is 25% of your overall grade, so it carries weight. Not doing this assignment will definitely drop your grade. Depending on where your final grade is at, it could possibly drop it one letter grade or two letter grades. It's not a difficult assignment. However, pay attention to it. You are allowed to start working on it. And once I go over it, you'll see why. I think it's going to take time to complete. This is not something where you just watch the movie and you write how you feel, you answer the questions, and that's it. Because it's a big chunk of your grade, you want to start early. You want to make sure you get your notes together. You want to make sure your grammar is correct. You want to be sure that you submit a good essay. All right? Now, if you read here, as communication students, you are faced with a number of interactions that influence not only our relationships, but just our comings and goings, whether we are at work, out with friends, business, family, everything. And how that interaction goes, a lot of it depends on our knowledge of things. For example, Miami-Dade College is located in South Florida. South Florida is beyond a melting pot of just different cultures. And having that understanding can definitely influence how I respond to somebody, right? It can definitely influence that. And so we can learn about how to give a speech and become communication experts, but how do we walk out communication in the workforce? How do we effectively communicate with other cultures? How do we respond to stereotypes and racially charged comments when directed at members of our family or ourselves, or even when we're just spectators and we just kind of overhear? So what you are going to do is you are going to review chapters 2, which is perception, chapter 3, which is gender and culture, and then chapter 6, which is nonverbal communication, before starting this assignment. Okay? Links to each chapter are provided under the assignment description, and you will see it there. Okay? Now, what are you going to do? You are going to select one of the movies here. Now, if you just have time, you're more than welcome to watch all three of them. Up to you. Before this assignment, you are selecting one of the movies listed. Crash. This came out in 2005. The best way I can explain Crash without giving it away, because it's really good, it's just from the beginning to the end, it's just stereotypes. One stereotype that rolls over into another, to another. It's intense, but it's really good. North Country. Think of, how do I say? North Country is about women's rights, but it's also based off of a true story, and it talks about sexual harassment in the workplace. It is also a good movie. This also came out in 2005. All three of them, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Maybe it's not your type of movie that you enjoy watching, but you need to select one of them, okay? Philadelphia. Philadelphia came out in 1993. You see some familiar faces here. Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington when they were in their prime. So Philadelphia is about a lawyer who is defending a man who happens to be gay and also happens to have HIV. Okay, now the importance of this is look at the year 1993. This was the early 90s. There was still a lot of negative comments, a lot of negative commentary, even in the newspapers and the media towards the gay community. And I say gay community because back then there was no LGBT. And so there was still a lot of disrespect, a lot of fear, or that went over how HIV is contracted. This is a good movie, and if my memory serves me right, don't hold me to it, Philadelphia is somewhat based off of actual events that happened. I need to double check that. Nevertheless, they are all really good. Pick one of these movies. Watch it. You have a number of questions here to address. Everything needs to be addressed in an essay format. Do not, I repeat, do not include this actual question in your essay. So for example, do not include, let me see if I can copy it from here. Copy, paste. Do not include this question in your essay. Do not have the question here and then have my initial reaction to this movie. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because why? First, you will have to submit it to Blackboard. And if you include these questions, then it is going to increase your similarity index. What is your similarity index? When your papers are run through the system, it checks for plagiarism. And similarity is basically what content in your paper is similar to something else out there. What's exact? People who copy and paste information from the internet is always highlighted. Always highlighted. Okay? And so we don't want to do that. Remember, this is an essay. Make sure you have an introduction before you start going to, hey, my initial reaction to this movie is XYZ. If you want to provide a summary of the movie, that's fine. Again, do not plagiarize. Do not pull content from the internet. Summarize the movie in your own words. No flexibility for plagiarism at all. You know when you're plagiarizing because you go to a website and you copy the content and you put it into your paper. You will end up with a 0 on your assignment and possibly getting a 0 in the class automatically. So please do not do that. All right. So chapter 2. First question, what did you think about the film? This is required for all films. No matter what movie you select, you are required to answer questions 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. So the next question is chapter 2 talks about perception. Review the chapter before answering the question. And you're going to answer, how does one's identity and the role they play in society influence the way we see others around us? Pick a scene from the film you watched and apply 2 different concepts from chapter 2 to your answer. Make sure you expound. This shouldn't just be you merely answering a question. This is an essay. Same thing for chapter 3. Select a different scene. Chapter 3 talks about gender and culture, stereotypes. Apply 2 different concepts from chapter 3 to your answer. Chapter 6 is nonverbal communication. Select a different scene to apply examples of the 4 different types of gestures discussed in your chapter, in chapter 6. Now for this question, you may apply it to more than one scene. You may apply it to more than one scene. I will make the correction here, okay? And so for questions 1, 2, 3, and 4, all of you are answering this question. Now I keep saying chapters. Questions 5, 6, and 7 are movie/film specific. If you select North Country, then you are only going to answer question 5. If you select Philadelphia, you are going to select question 6. If you select Crash, then you are going to select question 7. Okay? Now, the final question required for all films is something that everyone has to respond to. Everyone. Now, at least 2 pages typed, a minimum of 800 words. At minimum, your essay is going to be 2 pages because 800 words in 2 pages is a tight push. Okay? Double space, paragraphs, no bullets, no numbers. Make sure you include not only your nonverbal terminology, but your textbook terminology from chapters 2 and 3. Provide specific examples. Plagiarized assignments will automatically receive a 0 on the assignment. You may not resubmit. Do not just type out the assignment and press the submit button. Do not do that. Okay? Do not do that. Why? Because you are more than likely, you're going to have errors. So after you type your essay, print it up. Print up your essay. And then from there, look at what you've written. A trick that I like to do is I print it up and I just step away from it. Maybe I go wash the dishes. I just go do something to get my eyes off of the computer. Why am I doing that? Because sometimes we're typing or we're thinking faster than we're typing. We have missed words. Sometimes I leave it for 30 minutes. However, I come back, I look at what I have printed up, and I read it. And not only do I read it, but I read it aloud. Why? Because when you hear what you've written, then you're able to say, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. This is a good way to learn how to edit your own work for any class. Because the worst thing to do is to type an essay on the computer, edit the essay on the computer, and then hit submit. Hands down, you are going to have errors there. And when they're very basic things that could have been corrected, then you see how your grade dropped. It's like you shoot yourself in the foot. And that because you know it's like, oh, that was a silly mistake. And so these are things you want to do. Pay attention to grammar. Pay attention to grammar. This is a Gordon Rule class, so this is a minimum of 800 words. Okay? Avoid just merely answering the question without expounding. Everything you need to expound on every single thing. This paper, again, let's scroll down, is with your outline for your speech, it's 25% of your grade. So you want to take your time. Now, when is this particular assignment due? If we select here, the system is very slow. This is another reason why it's March 15th. There it is. This is another reason why I say don't wait till the last minute to do your work, because sometimes Blackboard is just really, really slow. Really slow. And so you are going to upload your assignment here. Okay? It's due by March 15th. Are you able to submit it in 2 weeks? Sure, if you've done it correctly, you're more than welcome to do that. Just don't rush in doing it. Take your time, edit your work. If you need to take it to one of the academic tutors in one of our writing centers or any one of our campuses, you are more than welcome to do that. Okay? You're more than welcome to do that. You have until March 15th to complete this. I strongly encourage you not to wait until March 13th to start this. You need time because you have to apply concepts from each chapter to different scenes. So for some of you, you may need to watch it one good time just to get a feel for the movie. And then you watch it again with your notes out, with your textbook, and then you're able to start taking notes and whatnot. That is just one way, one strategy that you can do. Now, again, this is for your film assignment. It's due March 15th. I'm going over it now because you have time to complete it. The Dropbox is already open. Do not wait until the last minute. Do not take this assignment lightly. Also, one other thing, when you are using Blackboard, if you have a Mac and you have Pages, Pages is not compatible with a Blackboard at all. So if you submit a document using Pages, I do not have access to it. I can't open it. If I can't open it, I cannot grade it. Always transfer your work to Word or PDF or a PDF. Okay? Always, always, always. I believe that is it. You guys have a great day.